I'm gonna bring it into adjacent culture.
Okay.
Of America. So I'm really big into hip hop. I grew up in Second Ward, Houston. It was a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood, but all the adjacent neighborhoods were all black.
Yeah.
I went to I was hanging around a lot of really for my entire childhood all the way up to mid-teenage years. It was just Hispanics and black people that I was around. So hip hop culture was a huge thing for us, right? And I often empathize a lot because I kind of watched it happen, the redistribution and repackaging of black culture into pop culture and how they take from black culture and then you get the Kim Kardashian, tanning with black women features, but a white woman is portraying it, and this fetishization of black features all the way around, right?
Yeah.
And Jay-Z has a line that says, in one of his songs, he says, we lived in the ghetto, and I can't rap, or I don't remember, to the T. But he essentially says, we're from the ghetto, and we made soul food. We made, we took pig intestines and turned it into soul food. And, and then you came in and gentrified it. It was essentially his thing. And again, there goes for me the parallels. That's what we did. We were nothing goes to waste in the the rancho. The whole barbacoa craze right now is oh my god, it's Torchy's has barbacoa tacos, and I'm
those aren't tacos, bro.
I know, but they have all these barbabirria, all this stuff, and I'm for us in a lot of ways, that was the throwaway. We just we needed to get the cheek and the tongue and all of that stuff, because or else there was no more food.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
It was a necessity.
It was a necessity. It wasn't a trend. It wasn't this oh my god, it's exotic, this and that. No. It was bottom of the barrel. We or maybe that's the wrong term. Not bottom of the barrel, but making the most out of everything that you can.
Exactly.
And then again, sitting it at the table, creating that communal space, and then saying no, this is still delicious. And for us, just like black people, to take the pig intestines and turn it into soul food, to take the barbacoa and the cheek and the tongue, to turn it into something that that tastes delicious, and that makes everybody else all over the world, especially here in the United States, be oh my god, we gotta try that because that's so different. We only think about fajitas. When in Mexico, we never say fajita. We say arrachera. We say, you know what I'm saying? So again, this American habit of taking things that have a cultural and significant value to the way our way of life, and then repackaging and repurposing it, and then not giving it credit or creating an ahistorical context to it where it becomes exotic.
Exactly.
I never get mad at the taquero or the business owner that says, okay, well, I know how to do this. So let's make a pork. Let's create everything. Let's make a carnitas and sell it to all these gringos and I never get mad at the hustle. You know what I mean?
Right.
But what does sometimes get under my skin is whenever I am in passing watching people talk about it as it's this next craze and big thing,
or a new thing.
And
it's new to them.
And then I'm just wait, what?
They moved on from the bologna sandwich, bro.
Exactly. From the applesauce sandwich. So then, it always just sits a little bit off center for me, because I'm just no. I'm actually both glad that you're trying it because it's delicious. But also I kind of want you to know about the history. I kind of want you to know about where it comes from. This because you can trace back a fucking Cacio Pepe to Italy and be no, that's why this is a classic dish.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And bolognese and you can trace it back to why it's a classic dish, and they give the respect where it's where it's deserved. A classic pomodoro or this, you know what I mean? And they don't do that with the tacos. And that to me is where I think I find a little bit of the problem area, where I get to say I wish there was a better way of creating that chronology back to where it's due, because I honestly, I'd like the whole world to get it.
Totally.
Because I'm proud of our culture.
Right.
But I don't want to be invisible.
Yeah,
I don't want to be. I don't want our people to be invisible while other people are partaking in the things that we've pioneered and innovated with, because it kept us from dying.
Right,
it kept us from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kept us from like, you know, having that rancho life for our grandmothers and our grandfathers, and it kept the family afloat. It kept everything. It kept us efficient. It kept us, you know, before the city folk turned it into the business empire. This and that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I totally. You know, like I talked to a lot of like elders that have been around generationally here in Texas, and they're like back in the 60s, they were like, okay, like you know, we couldn't afford white bread and bologna, so we had a bean and cheese taco. But they had to eat it in hiding. You know, that's what they told us, because they were ostracized for that, right? And then when you think about like two stories, parallel stories that you just brought up, that makes me think of, you know, the whole idea of like barbacoa as well as fajitas. You know, both were throwaway. And now it's like, and then that comes from, you know, like the oil, right? Cooking it underground in a pit is an indigenous practice that we kind of through time came up with that, right? And then so you have these throwaway meats that you mentioned, and now they're like all hot. You know, you can get them at your Applebee's or whatever, right? And then another parallel is barbecue. For a long time, there was a lot of credit given to white pitmasters. Right. But where does that, you know, who fed America for 400 years? Is black slaves and former slaves. And where does that food come from? From black culture. Yeah. And it comes through that. And now you are seeing, you know, that acknowledgement. For a long time. You know, the people that were being interviewed around barbecue and around Mexican food were white male chefs. And, you know, and they, you know, instead of like telling the true stories, they would just take credit for their dish. But what does that do to that history? It erases it. Yeah. Right. And so it makes people, our stories, invisible. Right. And then a couple podcasts ago, we did a story on taco gentrification in East Austin, where on Cesar Chavez, on East Cesar Chavez, you can get a taco that's $1.50 at the same road. The end of the same road, you're gonna pay probably like $8 for a taco. Which is now what's the median taco price in Austin now? It's like $5. Yeah, $6 It's crazy, right? Yeah. So the question is, like,
I remember dollar tacos in Houston too. Like, we used to have that, you know, tacos that were like, you know, you pull up and it was just a simple basic taco, $1.50. Yeah. Get yourself 2-3 tacos, go home. Like, it's not a big deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the question is, like, who are you? Who gets to eat that taco, right? And who is it for? And what access are you giving a customer, whether they're $1.50 or, you know, you get about 2 tacos, a barbacoa plate at the end of the road for like $20, right? Yep. And then as you walk in there, you're gonna see who the clientele is.
Yeah, that's your beef with Torchy's right there.
I mean, I'm just like, you know, the thing is like you gotta acknowledge where the food comes from. You know what I mean? And then if you're just there to sell and hawk, and, you know, and without that representation, you know, it's not a taco.